Good morning, everyone. This is Steph. Thank you so much for tuning in to me on this wonderful Friday. I hope you guys had an amazing week, and I can't wait to share this project with you. This project has a couple different purposes going on. First and foremost was for my daughter's upcoming birthday. I wanted to make her a little paper album that she can kind of hang on to as a little keepsake. And then this is also my project for my Stampin' Friends blog hop with our theme Brighten Someone's Day or Brighten Your Day. And I thought that this was just a perfect little treat that would make somebody smile for many reasons. Now, when I was looking for inspiration on making the paper album, I had come across in my stash, if you will, some 3x3 little note cards with envelopes. And in my midst of trying to declutter and use what I have on hand, I decided, hey, these cards would be really cute to kind of put together as a paper album. So then I was searching through Pinterest for some ideas on paper albums and how people assembled them, and I happened to come across this particular one by pattystamps.com, where she made a little paper album and she created a bind using some ribbon and some additional paper. So I went to work to case that, and so I want to give a shout out to Patty and just to say thank you for the inspiration on this project. And then we have here the little Dress to Impress, a little pocketbook that will hold this project when I give it to my daughter. All right, it's really easy to put together. I will say I learned a couple things when I was assembling this one. Unfortunately, these little 3x3 note cards, when I folded them on the score line, the edges didn't all meet up. So that's really important for lining up this book. And so it kind of messed up a little bit on my binding here. So, prototype, but the end result is still really cute. So I'm going to show you how we put this together and what you need. Okay. So if you don't have 3x3 note cards, take a piece of cardstock, 6x3, and then score it at 3. And you'll need 6 note cards, or 6 pieces of paper. And then you're going to need 3 pieces of Whisper White, and I know there's only 2 right here, and that's because I already have one glued. But these are going to measure 2 1/4 by 4 1/4, and then you're going to fold them in half. And this is part of the binding, as you will. As you can see, it's this white paper here in the center. Okay? And then you're going to need some Designer Series paper or cardstock to decorate your little note cards here. And I've intentionally left some of these blank because I'm going to add some pictures, and I might do a little journaling and see if my other children will maybe write a note to their sister before we give it to her. And I'll just show you. So we have the cover here that says, "You have what it takes to be unstoppable, and I couldn't be more proud," layered on a bunch of hearts with the colors that coordinate with the paper that I used. And then I just added the DSP on top. This has some daisies, and this one says, "Keep reaching for your dreams. I will keep cheering you on, When in doubt, be a unicorn. These are the moments we'll look back on with joy," with a little balloon there. "Be as bold as your lipstick." And then "Live with passion, laugh out loud, and love deeply." And another thing you can do too is take the little envelopes that come with this, and you can see these were around a long time ago, and typically when I do my hops and some of these blog posts, we don't like to use like retired. We want to make sure that whatever projects we're using you can duplicate if you want to. We still sell 3x3 note cards and you can easily make them on your own. And we also sell the little mini envelopes. But you could also, I thought of adding this kind of on the inside back flap as a little pocket, and maybe we could put, you know, some notes, little handwritten notes in there as well. Okay. So like I said, you'll need 6 6x3 scored in half at 3. You'll need 3 Whisper White, 2 1/4 by 4 1/4, and fold those in half. And then you're going to need a piece of cardstock or designer series paper. And this measures 3 1/2 by 7, and then that gets scored in half at 3 1/2. All right, and then also I have already cut some of my designer series paper, and you need 12 because of the 12 basically sides to the note cards. Now, we also sell some 3x3 note cards. Actually, I don't even know if we still sell them, and I apologize. But if you have note cards that have a design on them, then you could maybe exclude using the designer series paper. But decorate it however you want. This is just to give you the basic idea of what we're doing. Okay. And then, like I said, I grabbed a bunch of different stamp sets for my greetings. I grabbed the colors that were in the designer series paper, and I used the Paper Blooms, which is part of our celebration. So you have just a few more days before this celebration promotion ends, but with a $50 purchase, you could actually choose this paper as a free gift. And I chose 6 different patterns and just cut 2 of each of that pattern, 1 for the reverse side. Some Whisper White, you know, for stamping, and like I said, extra cardstock for the decorations. So what we're going to do is fold all of your note cards in half, and I made sure that these seem to line up and score a little bit neater. I don't know if maybe I was going fast last time and it somehow missed. Okay, make sure these are folded in half, the Whisper White. And then what you do is take your grid paper here, and see, I've already done one for you. Okay, so this becomes the center where we're going to bind the ribbon through and layer all of the note cards together. So once I have this on, and you'll see, we're going to take one note card, fold it in half on one side, and one note card folded in half on the other side. I'm just going to zoom in just a smidge so you can see what I'm doing. So you want to take the score line here and kind of line it up on one of your grid lines to keep it straight. And then you're going to take your note card about 3/8 of an inch. Now you could measure 3/8, mark it, and then line your edge up. And you're going to do that on both sides, okay? One of the things that I found to be a little bit easier is once I got the first one done, I use that as my base, because I found it was really important, especially where I haven't been making these at all. Like, this is the first go at it, that having them line up affects the way the little album folds. So where I have this one already done, let me zoom out just a smidge there. What I would do is I'm going to add adhesive onto one side of my note card, and then do the same thing on the other, just like that. And then I stuck this where the score lines seem to match. Okay, take my note card and I'm lining it up on top of the other note card, and then I'm doing the same thing. And I found once I had these all done like this, once I put the hole punches in, everything, I have glue all over my fingers and under my nails. And then you would turn this over, add your adhesive here. You know, these Stampin' Seals are really, really great, but they tend to be a little bit temperamental. All right, and so now you can see when I put one on top of the other, they line up so much better than my initial one. So you're going to do that again. And I will say that you will need a hole puncher or some sort of crocodile heavy duty punch for layering. If you don't have that, you will need to hole punch through your layers one at a time. So now I'm just following the other cards as my guide. And the more you do this, the more they line up. I've tried a few, and it does get easier as I went along. Just like that. Add your adhesive on this side. And I can already see this one didn't line up 100%. So, which is a little disappointing considering these were all purchased with the score lines. I just have had them for a while, but it is what it is. I'm not gonna complain. It's paper crafting, right? Okay, so then you're going to take your background piece, and I'm using Seaside Spray. This was, I think, a piece called Pretty in Pink, but for decorating and stuff I used Petal Pink. You could use Blushing Bride, Rococo Rose, whatever colors coordinate within your designer paper. And one of my daughter's favorite colors used to be blue, although she's kind of changed a little bit over the years. Everything had to be blue. All right, so now what I'm doing is I'm lining up all my cards by the score line. And then I'm lining that score line up with the score line for the center point on the Seaside Spray, I think that's called, yeah. And then I'm just kind of making sure that it's a little, I keep moving it every time I move my fingers, but I want to make sure that my edges around all seem to match. And so you can see there's that one card, I don't know if you can see it sticking out a little bit right there because that was the one that the score line didn't line up great. And now I'm just going to take a little pen, I'm going to mark 2 dots about equal from the edges. Now this is a 1/8 punch that I have going on my crocodile, and this thing's fantastic. I know years ago Stampin' Up! Used to sell a crocodile, I think, as a hole punch, and then they retired it out, and crocodiles are still available in stores, but whatever you have that can go through a bunch of paper at a time would be perfect. And now I'm using the Seaside Spray. This is the scalloped linen ribbon, and this is going to be my binding, as you can see here, and I finished it with a bow on the outside. So the first thing that I did was trim my ribbon to a little point, and I'm going to feed through all the little holes. Now you could use twine. You could staple this if you preferred. I have not tried that, but you know, whatever you have on hand, whatever works. And then if you have a little trouble getting it through, use your, take your pick tool, your stylus, tweezers, you know, something that helps you feed your ribbon through. And then make sure you give yourself enough to tie off a nice bow. Okay? And then I'm going to do the same on this side and feed this through. Now I don't know how it would be. Oops, I keep moving. I'm taking this with me. It's the joys of my hands being so dry no matter how much lotion I use. I'm constantly cleaning and sanitizing as part of my job, as well as working with paper all the time can be very drying. And the last thing you want to deal with is a bunch of lotion on your hands while you are working with paper, because sometimes it can leave a residue. But anyway, enough on that. All right. So now I have fed through, and I'm just going to tie a bow like I normally would. So this would be my front. Now this ribbon is a little on the stiffer side, but the nice thing about it is when you do tie a bow, it tends to stay, because those little, for me what I see is like the little scalloped edges here kind of hold the shape. And I did take a little too much, but that's all right. And then you have your little album. And I used up some stuff that I had on hand, which is great. So I figured with this one, I'm not going to show you like step by step how I decorated it. It's super easy. So your front cover here is 3.5 by 3.5. So if you're going to do a layered look, go down 1/4 inch. You could do 3.25 by 3.25, then a 3 by 3. I chose to punch out these hearts using the colors. So I have Rococo Rose, Petal Pink, Seaside Spray. This is Soft Sea Foam and Night of Navy. And those are colors that all appear in the Designer Series paper pack. And then for my inside layers, like I said, I took 6 pieces of the Paper Blooms Designer Series paper, which you can earn for free during celebrations, which ends at the end of February. And I cut out 12 squares that measure 2 3/4 by 2 3/4. And then I grabbed a bunch of stamp sets that I thought had some inspirational quotes. So Strong and Beautiful, Peaceful Moments, Hippo Happiness for the little when in doubt be a unicorn, Dressed to Impress. And then one that I did choose that was retired, and again I apologize for choosing a retired set. In my mind when I saw this one, I was like, oh well, this is a gift for my daughter, so it's okay that this set is retired, but I do apologize. I just really love the greetings in this beautiful use set, and I used the Live, Laugh, Love one and Wishing You a Brighter Day. So again, use whatever you have, whatever inspires you. Now for the little pocketbook here, this is the Dress to Impress dies that are in our current catalog, and all you do is take a piece of cardstock or Designer Series paper that measures 5.5 by 5.5, or actually like just 5.5. So I took the DSP, so that would be 5.5 by 12, and then I cut out 2 pieces of the Designer Series paper, 2 exact pieces, because you need 2 to put it together. And then I used this die right here to cut out my little pocket. We have a little button, the little buckles here for the straps, and I'll show you how to put this together. I've already decorated the front. It's hard to see on camera, but on the Designer Series paper, when you cut out using the dies, it gives you the scored pieces as well as some stitched embellishing around. So you need, like I said, 2 pieces, and I've already decorated one. And then you're just going to fold on all the score lines. Now there is a score line right here, so if you were doing a little purse or the backpack, you would fold in. I'm leaving this out to fit the book okay. And then do the same with the second piece. Okay. And then for this example, because I know I'm not doing anything really heavy in this bag, I'm just going to use my Stampin' Sale. And I'm adding adhesive on these little bits here, this little piece here. This is my front, so I'm going to add adhesive here, and the only reason why I'm saying it's my front is because I've already put the decorations. They're the same pieces, so if you hadn't done this first, just choose one and make that your front, and then add the adhesive to this bottom flap, but your inside. So I chose this lighter flowery pattern. This is the reverse side of it. Choose whatever works for you. And then what you're going to do is take the edge of one of your pieces that does not have any score lines, so your left side, to the one that has the score line, and I lined up from the top edge following that score line all the way down. Do the same thing as you wrap it around. Start from the top and then go down like that. Here's my front piece. It has adhesive on it. So now I'm going to take these two little tabs and I'm lining up this one to both sides. And then that will just fold down neatly. Okay. Now, like I said, if you were doing the backpack look or a little pocketbook, you would pop your score lines in like this. I always say it's like the milk carton look. But in order to fit the little paper album, I'm pushing my score lines out like that. All right. And then the little album will fit and tuck all the way down. Super cute. And you could also go this way if you want, if you don't want to have to worry about messing up your bow and have the bow sticking from the top. Now to finish this off, you can add the handles, or you can just leave it like a little pouch. Now, like I said, I did the little pocket here, and this is a little note card that I just stamped and then cut down to fit, and it says, "Wishing you brighter days to come." I punched out 4 flowers in the coordinating colors using the small bloom punch, and then I have this twig punch, which is the soft sea foam, a little button. Now if you're going to do the little handles here, in the dies there's these little buckle pieces. And I'm sorry, I know there's a little bit of a glare, and that's a light color, so it's kind of contrasting. So you would actually cut out 4 of these, 2 for the front, 2 in the back. I used the designer, I used ribbon. You could use the designer series paper, you could use cardstock, but you would just feed this through like you would, you know, the like a belt buckle. And the nice thing with the scalloped ribbon is the little scalloped edges catch, so be careful when you're feeding it through, but you don't have to worry about adhering it in here. If you were using paper, this little thing could still slide, so you would need to make sure it adheres in there. And then you would add, I used some glue dots to stick it down. I would have my ribbon measured out the length that I would need and cut 2 of them, and then I would repeat that process for the front and back sections. So you would have it fed through the back and fed through the front like that. And again, so here's the little handbag, just using the paper, and then the little paper album. I hope you enjoyed my projects today. Again, thank you, Patty Stamps, for your inspiration, And until I see you again, happy stamping.